Well, welcome back to the Classic Working Vehicles channel. You find me in my happy place, which is a workshop full of Unimogs. First thing I think I need to do before I carry on with the 421 restoration is get it cleaned up and also move some vehicles around. So let's get on with it. So the advantage of cleaning it all off in this way is, one, it makes the whole vehicle much more pleasant to work on, but also it starts to reveal a few things, show a few things up, sometimes good, sometimes bad. One of the things I spotted, for instance, is that on the front pulley, socket head bolts look very new on there. So I'm wondering whether the crank seal has been changed. It actually wasn't really oily around the front of the engine, which would suggest maybe it has been changed, which would be good news because that'll save me a job if that's the case. But while the injectors are still in place, what I might do is see what sort of compression the engine has got just by turning it over by hand initially and see what resistance is there. Let's see if we can take this rocker cover off. Have a look at the camshaft, see what condition it's in. So first impressions are good. There's no corrosion on the camshaft. Can't see any broken springs. A little bit of dirt in there, but it's really not bad. Bit of wear in the chain, either the sprocket or the chain, probably both, but not terrible. So let's have a little go at turning this over. So normally oil dropped on the floor would annoy me, but actually having just turned this over, that tells me the hydraulic pump is working. It's pushing out the residual oil that's in the hydraulic lines. I've just rigged up a jump pack here. Oh, that's good. Okay, so there's life at the starter motor. That's good. It's turning over. Looks like all the valves are going up and down. It looks like it's pulling oil up as well. So that suggests we've got oil pressure. If you look along the cams here, you've got oil around them now. I'd wiped it off before. So I think we've got oil pressure too. So this is all good news. So what we've discovered is the compressor is working. I put my finger over the intake, it's creating vacuum. Both the steering pump and the hydraulic pump are pushing out a bit of oil, so it looks like they're working okay as well. So the ancillaries on the engine seem good. Starter motor is working well, it's turning over the engine very healthily, and we know we've got oil pressure. So lots of good things there. There will be a reason why this vehicle got parked up at some point. Clearly there's some issues with the injector pump, but there may be a compression issue. as well that needs investigating. Right, time to remove the injector pump. So the Bosch pump is fitted to the OM616, this Mercedes engine. It didn't have an oil feed from the engine itself. It relies on, this is the oil cap, being topped up as part of the service process. And that bolt there, or that plug actually, is the level hole. So what you're meant to do when you service the engine, when you change the engine oil, is also drain the oil from here, take out this bolt, fill it from the top with engine oil, and it should come up to that level. I've had a look in there already and there doesn't seem to be any oil in there at all. So I'm hoping it won't be too messy when I take it off, but we will see. So that's the injector pump off. It's the drive coupling. And that will now get sent away for overhaul. So this is the glow plug out of number 1 cylinder. And it's not looking too bad. There's very little carbon on it. So that might be a good sign. So injectors on some diesel engines are held in with a clamp. And the trouble with that is that the injector itself, because of carbon buildup and things, can get really badly stuck in there. These are threaded. In theory, they will come out more easily. So just looking at these injectors, these are going to be overhauled, so I'm not going to dismantle these. But actually looking at them, I mean, they're quite corroded on the outside, but they're not badly eroded around the injector itself, if I can get it to focus. So I mean, they may well get replaced anyway, but the seat here is not badly eroded. So you never know, they might live to fight another day. So that's the fitting for the compression tester gauge to attach to. I've left the injectors in, but taken all the other glow plugs out though. So when it's turned over on the motor, it's only having to work on that one cylinder to bring it up to, hopefully, pressure. So I'm going to try it as it is to begin with, and then I might try a little bit of oil inside the bores on a second attempt, depending on the sort of readings I'm getting. So we've got, it's dropped down a little bit now, but we've got 200 psi dry on cylinder number 1. So we've got about 240 dry on number 2. 250. So final one, number 4, 250 dry. 2 or 3 squirts of engine oil in each cylinder. I've done that, let it stood for a little while. I've turned it over again, push out the excess oil. Now I'm going to put the compression tester back in. So I'm actually pretty pleased after the engine compression test about what it's giving. Wet, it's giving anywhere between 300 and 400 psi, which is about where it ought to be. It varies a bit across the cylinders, so there's a bit of varying wear. But the engine's done 6,000 hours, which, you know, if that was in a car, you'd be talking about 150,000 miles, up to about 200,000 miles. So it's done a fair bit of work. But I'm hopeful it can still continue to do a fair bit of work without a lot of rebuild, which gets very expensive very quickly on a Mog. But we'll see when I get the injector pump back and get it running again. So injector pump and injectors now all basically ready to be sent off for overhaul. So they will go for a while. And then on the Unimog itself, next job will be get it up on axle stands. All the wheels have come up pretty easily, but I would say it's a while since they have been off. Got a good collection of cobwebs on this one. In this one we've got a bramble working its way around. So yeah, it's been stood for a while, but actually they do turn. So I should be able to get the brake drums off and start to have a look and see what things are like inside there. So now the Mog is up on axle stands, I can get round it all more easily with the wheels off. And I can start to strip down the chassis, take out the PTO, a lot of the pipe work, air system can come off, things of that sort. Don't know how far I'm going to go with the strip down yet. We'll see. It depends what's working and what isn't and what condition things are in. The other test I carried out, although I forgot to film it, was while the starter pack was attached to the starter motor and with the injectors out, I tried turning the engine over with the main gearbox in gear and then seeing whether the rear wheels, well, the brake drums in this case, whether they revolved or not. And I tried that each gear in the main gearbox, the 4 ratios in the cascade box, and in forward and reverse, and all of them have worked. So that tells me that the gearbox is good, or at least at this stage it tells me it's all working as it should. I haven't tried the power takeoff. This is the power takeoff selection lever. The reason for that is I know that the front shaft and the rear shaft on the PTO, they're both seized. The universal joints, the spiders in the universal joints are seized. So I don't want to put that in gear and try it on the starter motor because it'll overload something, probably the starter motor in fact, and may lead to something being broken. But what I will do is when these are removed, I'll be able to turn over the power takeoff by hand, and then I will try it again with the starter motor. I may even film that for the next episode. But the main plan for what's coming next is starting to strip the ancillaries off the chassis and to get the engine out of the frame. Well, I think that probably just about wraps it up for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it interesting or enjoyable, or maybe even both. And I also wanted to say a quick thank you because we've just hit 1,000 subscribers. So thanks to all of you who have hit that subscribe button. If you haven't and you're enjoying the content, please do, because it will encourage me to make more videos about what's going on in the workshop, both restoring the Unimog 421, hopefully bring it up to the same sort of standard as this one over the coming months, but also some of the other projects that go on in the workshop, because this isn't the only thing that I'm working on. Oh, and one more thing. A very happy Christmas from me and Santa's little helper. Hey, Coco. You good girl. You good girl. Okay, Danny. Oh, good girl. Oh, yeah. That was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it?